Hey everyone. Okay, it's Kennedy. My voice is kind of gone, so if it sounds really bad, that's why. But if all of you guys are ready, I can start reading if you guys are all ready. I don't think y'all need y'all's cameras on. It didn't say in the instructions to keep them on, but I think if like whenever one of us are speaking, if y'all want to respond or anything, y'all can turn y'all's mics on. Um, but I guess I will start. Um, All right. I hope we don't need our cameras on. What do you guys think?
I feel like we might need to. Only because so she knows that we're not like reading off something.
And I think it said something about like eye contact or something, but
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Honestly, I'm glad y'all said that because I would have hated to have to redo this whole thing. So yeah, I guess I'm looking really chopped right now, but I'll turn mine on. There we go. Um, I do have like note cards on the side that I'll kind of be reading off of. So if you see my like eyes go that way, I'm not reading off of it, just like reading cards. But are you guys all ready? Do any of you guys like need more time to set up Zoom or anything?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, I believe I'm recording. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna start. So, passing out in Petco was unpredictable and humiliating, but it actually made me grow as a person by challenging me to listen to my body, work towards a goal, and find moments of growth in those very uncomfortable moments. Although the day was a blur, I remember the moment clearly. One second, I was checking out pet food with my brother in line at Petco, and the next second, I'm collapsed on the floor, struggling to breathe. Everything went pitch black. I was going in and out of consciousness. I struggled to be fed water I couldn't swallow, and being put in a chair I couldn't hold myself upright for. I remember hearing the words of, "You're going to be okay," but then also hearing the words of someone saying, "Call EMS now." I remember my mom standing over me, bawling her eyes out with fear, but I couldn't gain the energy to tell her everything would be okay. At some point, I was lifted into an EMS truck, which I had never been in before. It really did scare me. IV bags were being put into my arm, and bright lights were in my face, and my heart was beating extremely slowly. On the way to the hospital, I tried to explain what happened and that I actually have a very bad history of fainting. But this was nothing like what I've experienced before. This was nothing like the normal fainting situations I've had. I was rushed into the hospital with nurses surrounding me, pushing me in a wheelchair. When I was placed in the room, each nurse quickly but efficiently explained to me exactly what they were doing. One nurse was talking to me about ways I can start to regulate my body on my own when I feel a fainting spell coming, and another nurse was explaining to me why the IV bag had to stay in my arm. Although the day is something I look back on and feel absolute terror, the comfort I felt with the nurses helped ease my fears that day. Their communication was truly amazing and helped ease my fears. The day inspired me to want to be in healthcare and help communicate to people the way I was helped. I chose communications as my major to help bond healthcare and healthy communication into one. With the skills from my communication major, it will help me in a medical device sales career by helping me make my patients and doctors feel comfortable like the way I felt in the hospital that day. I chose to tell this story because it was what sparked my interest in wanting to work in the healthcare field. This day inspired me to want to work towards the goal of graduating with a degree in communication. With the skills from my communication major, it will help me in a medical device sales career by helping me make my patients and doctors feel comfortable like the way I felt in the hospital that day. I also wanted to really show the communication through healthcare workers and show how it made a big difference in how I was feeling. I wanted my reader to see how words and explanations can make scary situations better, especially in the medical field. When the EMS team and nurses use their voices to help ease my fears, I want to use my communications major to do the same. My goal this day was not to find my passion, but that's what it ended up turning into. A day when this vivid experience profoundly shaped me and my goals for the future to graduate with my communications degree and to work in the healthcare field. So that is my essay. So whenever the next person is ready, I will turn my camera and mic off.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Oh, let me turn my mic off. Sorry.
You're okay. Okay, so I'm Caylee, everyone. Hi. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about my grandfather being diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and how that shaped me with being able to learn many different moral lessons. So it first started off when I was younger. My grandfather was very involved in everything that happened in my life. He went to all my dance rehearsals, dance recitals, any sporting events, was at every holiday, would always be there for me and my family. And that was always something that I was looked forward to because I had a very special bond with my grandfather. Then as I got older, I started not to see him as much. So every single weekend, me and my grandfather would go to the grocery store together. We would go and shop for all of the groceries that he needed, and he would always buy me little snacks. And I always loved doing that because I have three other siblings, so it was very hard to get one-on-one time with some family members that we were close with. So as I got older, I started being more involved with sports and doing stuff in high school that kind of took up my weekend, so we weren't able to do this. And I kind of chose hanging out with my friends over hanging out with him as I got older, which now I do regret. But I sat down with my parents one day to talk to them because he stopped showing up to any like family events, such as holidays or birthday parties. So I was kind of confused on why that was happening. And they told me that he had Alzheimer's disease, and that is basically like when older people can't remember certain things and their physical abilities kind of decline as they get older. And this was very hard for me to hear because I knew that there was no cure for this, and I knew that he would never be able to get better and it would only get worse. So this taught me two major moral lessons. The first one is patience. I learned to be more patient with him because he wouldn't remember everything that I told him from phone calls from the day before. Even if it was just a few hours, he would forget certain things and he would ask me the same question over and over again. At first, I didn't really understand, but now as I look back on it, I understand why he was doing this. And it taught me that I need to be more patient with people when they need more clarification, or if they ask me a question more than once, I shouldn't get frustrated. I should just slow down and kind of talk to them more and explain it better. Another one was flexibility because this made me change most of my day-to-day activities to revolve around him. I started calling him every day since he did get his driver license taken away because it was hard for him to drive and remember where he was going. It was hard to see him. So I would call him a lot, or on the weekends, I would drive to where he lived, which is like about 35 minutes from my house. So I would have to either not hang out with my friends or not go to the football game or do certain things to make time for him. So it taught me those two very well moral lessons that I want to take on with the rest of my life and in my future because I think that they're very important. And this was also able to bring my family closer together because we all had to work together to either go make an effort to see him or take out 10 minutes from our day to FaceTime him or call him on the phone just so he knows that we're all here for him. And he's still alive today, but it is very hard to do things with him because it does decline his physical ability. So he can't go walk around the mall or go to Starbucks because he just would rather be in his house because that's more comfortable for him. So I feel like this disease is very horrible, but it also is able to teach me and my family many moral lessons that we'll take on for the rest of our lives. Okay, I'm finished.
All right, I'm next. Hi, my name is Miranda. I'm gonna do my speech about gender and ethnic inequalities and how my experiences have shaped me. Being a Hispanic woman has shaped the way I see the world and how I navigate. I'm gonna start by introducing like my background. So my parents are from Ecuador. It's a small country in South America. I actually went to preschool in Ecuador, so Spanish was my first language. But when I attended school here in elementary in Florida, I was more exposed to English, so I became more fluent in that language. But I knew that I was put in a different group only because I was taken out of my class to make sure like I have like a good comprehension and understanding of English. I felt like very out of place because I was labeled Hispanic on paper. Even though I had no problem, I wasn't falling behind in anything, but they still pulled me out of my classes. So from a young age, I was exposed to the fact that I was just different and I didn't have similar American lifestyles or traditions. I was always self-conscious, especially since like I was learning a lot of English through my parents. Like they have accents, so I was like picking up the way they mispronounce words. And then even now, like people still like point out some things that I mispronounce. The second point I want to talk about is like early encounterment with like gender inequality. I feel like girls are like stereotyped to be like very emotional and like sensitive and like fragile people compared to like men. And I feel like that really changes even like in the workplace culture, how you feel. Like, for example, I have worked in the food industry and I know like girls like female servers, they're like more exposed to like guys like flirting with them or like that like inappropriate type of behavior versus like men servers, they're not really exposed to that. So I feel like us girls, like we just have to like kind of like work past it because at the end of the day, this is just our job. And we just have to like put up with this type of behavior. My final point is how this is important and how I've learned to like embrace my culture and like my gender. I feel like being bilingual now, I've learned that it's very important and it can actually open a lot of doors for me in like the workforce and even just like seeing how social media, how people like influencers and celebrities have like embraced being from other places and how it can like connect such people from all over the world. It really has allowed me to like embrace my background. Oh, sorry. And then I just want to end it by with my thesis just saying my identity as a Hispanic woman has deeply influenced how I experience the world, including in the workplace. Thank you.
All right. Can you give me like literally 2 seconds? Yeah. All right. Shh. All right. Um, so I just go? Okay, cool. Um, Hello everyone. My name is Carson, and I want to tell you a story, not just about where I come from, but about what shaped me, about what gave me direction, purpose, and a deeper understanding of the world I live in. I grew up in a home where education wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. It wasn't just a goal, it was our foundation. It was essentially the air that we breathe. My parents believed and often said that learning is one thing no one can ever take away from you. That idea, as simple as it sounds, shaped the way that I saw the world. Because in our home, knowledge wasn't about showing off what you knew, it was about being humble enough to admit what you didn't. It was about the questions, not the answers. Every evening, as the day wound down, we gathered at the dinner table without our phones, without distractions, just our own voices, thoughts, and ideas. What started as small talk about our day often grew into deeper conversations. Um, some of the topics that we discussed included politics, history, and science, um, current events, and many more topics. Even hypothetical questions like, what would you change if you could rewrite the law? Uh, One law, or why do people vote against their own interests? These weren't just debates, they were invitations to think, to speak, and more importantly, to listen. It was at that table that I learned something many people never do, that you can disagree with someone and still respect them, that listening isn't waiting for your turn to speak, and ideas should be tested, not just blindly accepted. I won't pretend that I understood the gravity of those conversations at the time. I was a kid trying to sound smart, asking questions I didn't even fully understand. But looking back now, I see how those nights shaped me. They were training grounds, not for tests, college applications, but for life, for critical thinking and curiosity. That's part of what led me to my major in political science. Not because I dream of being a big attorney or big headlines, but because I want to understand the systems that shape people's lives and how those systems can be made better. I want to know how power works, how policies are made, and how people can be heard, especially the ones that are often ignored. Let me be clear, I'm not here to say I have it all figured out. I don't, and that's the point. I don't believe education is a destination, it's a lifelong journey. I believe the real value of learning is not just in what it allows you to do, but in who it allows you to become. I also believe that with privilege comes responsibility. I know I've had opportunities that many others haven't. I didn't earn the circumstances I was born into, but I can choose how I respond to them. And I choose not to let comfort make me complacent. I choose not to let privilege blind me because education, when done right, should not separate us from others. It should connect us more deeply to them. We live in a world that often tells us to be certain, to speak loud and take sides. But I've learned that true strength lies in curiosity, that progress begins with the humility to say, I don't know, but I want to learn. Whether your story is like mine or nothing like it, I want you to know that I don't take my story for granted. I want to use what I've been given, not just to get ahead, but to give back, to stay open, to ask questions, and to keep learning. At the end of the day, education is not just about books or grades or degrees. It's about becoming the kind of person who makes the world a little more just, a little more thoughtful, and a little more kind. That's the kind of person I hope to be. Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay. Hi, so my name is Cecilia. I'm going to be talking about how moving my freshman year of high school shaped who I am today. Well, moving before my freshman year of high school. So, moving to a new state is never easy, but for me, it happened before one of my most important years, freshman year of high school. Many students do experience moving. It is one of the most common and challenging things. Um, I'm going to explain my struggles and explain how I overcame them and overall the lessons that I've learned. So, moving before my freshman year created emotional and social struggles. I felt lonely because I started in a brand new school in a brand new state. I moved from Omaha, Nebraska to Florida, but I started in a brand new state. I left all my friends and family at home. Common emotions that people feel while moving are fear and anxiety. It connects to me because I didn't really have anybody to talk to because I was like all alone, had no friends, no family with me. But I really did miss my family and old friends. But research does say that when there isn't a physical connection and there's physical separation, there's a higher risk of relationship deterioration. For me, I noticed this because I noticed friends from my hometown and family from my hometown started reaching out less and less. Um, those struggles were hard, but over time, they pushed me to grow. I began pushing myself and joining sports. For me, was volleyball. I did varsity volleyball throughout high school, and it also pushed me to talk to new people. Um, More evidence shows that one of the best ways to make friends and strengthen relationships is to commit to a shared activity together. And for me, most of my friends that I did meet throughout high school were in sports. They were in my volleyball team, and I'm still friends with these people to this day. They actually go to the school with me. Um, by joining activities, I was able to build relationships with these people that had the same exact interest as me. But I also learned how to adapt to changes, which helps me build resilience. And resilience is not about pretending that things are fine, but or avoiding them. It's about learning how to adapt and grow and carry on with strength. Um, Moving showed me that I'm stronger than I thought and that I can overcome many future challenges, like moving to college and moving from my hometown, not where I used to live, but from my hometown to college, carry on moving through this too. Um, the growth I experienced left me with lessons that shape me and my goals today. Um, I now view change as an opportunity to grow and not as just something negative. Problem solving is the process of finding solutions to difficult or complex issues. Being able to problem solve helps me stay positive and ready for new changes. Moving has taught me to step out of my comfort zone. Um, Research says that stepping outside of your comfort zone, you'll learn more about yourself. For me, taking risks is talking to new people, introducing myself. I'm not very good at that. So, moving and meeting new people has taught me that I could do it. But, yeah, so moving my freshman year had its challenges, but I was able to grow and learn lifelong lessons from them. Even though it was one of the hardest times, it showed me that I could be a more stronger and confident person. Moving has taught me that even through the toughest transitions can lead to positive outcomes. And that is a lesson that will stick with me for the rest of my life. But thank you. I'm done.